Hey guys, Zach here, coming at you with another video. So today is my sequel video to the last video I did, which is, what they should bring back from the Luigi's Mansion games, the original two. So today's video is going to be about the second game. So without any further ado, let's get started.
ZakPak, he's always there for you. ZakPak, only on YouTube. ZakPak, what will he do next? ZakPak, let's find out, 'cause it's on with the show.
So let's talk about what they can bring back from Luigi's Mansion 2 that would make me happy. I really have to think about that one. So the first thing I think that they could bring back is, I mentioned in the first video how great it would be if they brought back the vibe, the subtleness of the soundtrack from the first game. But I would be lying if I would say that, I didn't like the second game soundtrack. I actually liked it quite a bit. It added a lot more variety. I loved each mansion's individual theme, and, as much as I wasn't a fan of how upbeat and energetic the soundtrack was in general, there were still some pieces in there that I genuinely liked, and I'd be fine if they brought back the vibe of the second game soundtrack as well. Like I said, I would much prefer the original, but, the second game has a good soundtrack too, and I think it'd be awesome if the second soundtrack's vibe came back as well. I don't know, I do really genuinely like the second game soundtrack. Quite a bit, actually. The second thing that they can bring back is the personality that the second game had. I don't mean every single aspect of it. I mean, definitely the ghosts, I'll talk about them later. But I mean Luigi. Luigi had a lot of charm and personality. And, I don't know, there's something about, the game had a certain charm that definitely didn't work in a lot of aspects, but it did in some. So I think the charm that, Luigi had in particular, I think that's kind of welcome back too. I also think that the upgrading system it would be a welcome return. Now, in the original Luigi's Mansion, all the treasure you got led to a ranking at the end of the game, which I think is cool. But I definitely did like that upgrading system aspect. It definitely did lead to a lot of grinding to finally get the most powerful Poltergust. But I think, to a certain extent, I have different ideas of how it can be used, but I think the upgrade system is definitely a better way to approach it. I mean, it really does give the coins more value than just getting a good ranking at the end of the game. I think it definitely does lead to a lot more reason to collect all the coins. Another thing about Luigi's Mansion 2 they should bring back is probably the strobe bulb. I really like the strobe bulb feature. I think it made capturing multiple ghosts at once even easier. It definitely worked in the bigger rooms, a lot better than it could in smaller rooms. And obviously they are bringing it back. We do know that they're bringing it back. But I definitely think it was definitely the right choice. When it came to the GameCube, I think the strobe bulb wouldn't have worked that well in the original Luigi's Mansion game. And even to some extent, in the 3DS remake, it doesn't work. You can't catch Speedy Spirits, really, with it. But I think with what Luigi's Mansion 3 seems to have to offer, and, the direction that Next Level Games goes, I think the strobe bulb is definitely the best way to go over the original method, which is, for me, weird to say, but, yeah, strobe bulb, I think, is definitely good to return to Luigi's Mansion 3. Another thing that they should bring back is, I like the Scarescaper mode. I think it made the game feel a little more like a traditional Luigi's Mansion game. I mean, you went and cleared a lot of the rooms, and you got keys to unlock other rooms to advance further in the mansion until you reached the boss ghosts. That felt more like Luigi's Mansion than the actual story mode did. So if they're going to bring anything back, bring back the Scarescaper. I would absolutely love to see that return. Alright, so let's talk about things that they should keep in Luigi's Mansion 2 that should not come back in Luigi's Mansion 3, and boy, there's a lot of them. Firstly, obvious one out of the way, mission structure. Get rid of it. No one wants it. Literally. Even the people that have played Luigi's Mansion 2 and prefer it to the original, even they usually say, yeah, the mission-based structure should go. And I think that's definitely a unanimous opinion on all Luigi's Mansion fans, because there's definitely a lot of variation with the people who've played the games. But that seems to be a unanimous one, to get rid of that mission structure. Next up, this is more of a personal opinion of mine, but a lot of the mansions seem to have, they're very puzzly. You know, they just seem to rely a lot on puzzles, like using the flash to activate those bombs to go down pegs and do something, or lifting up boulders and then shooting them at a target to activate a pulley to lower a bridge or something stupid like that. I am not a huge fan of those kind of puzzles. I like the puzzles that were like in the first game, where you had to light candles to be able to, escape a room or something like that, or to find a button that's hidden, in the view, but you can see it in the mirror on the opposite side of the room. Those are the kind of puzzles I like. I wasn't a huge fan of the very, puzzly, hold the toad and you'll have enough weight to lower a platform. I wasn't a huge fan of those. Bring back the portrait ghost and take away those puzzles, and yeah, please take away those puzzles. And this is another thing that's already been seen in the Luigi's Mansion 3 trailer, which does kind of suck, but I also wasn't a huge fan of those things that you flash, and then you use your flash thing to turn them on, because it does lead to instances where, like in the second game, they could just block off any part of the mansion at whatever time they want, just because they don't want you to go to that part. Like for example, right, you could use that flash to unlock a door, but then it could be covered to the next area. Kind of like in the second game they did that. So I really am not a huge fan of those things. I know it's a very nitpicky thing. At the end of the day, them returning really doesn't bug me that much, but knowing how they worked in the second game and how they were used to block off areas at certain points, definitely don't care for them. Another thing that I think could go is the dark light ability. A lot of people liked it. I personally didn't. I thought it was cool at first to reveal hidden objects and hidden boos and all that. But yeah, I just thought it was a little too gimmicky. I personally didn't like it that much. When it was used correctly, in my opinion, I thought it was pretty cool. Like uncovering pictures and doors and all that. But I thought, with the Polterpup missions, and trying to find the boos and all that, it just became a little too monotonous. Speaking of the boos, I think the capturing method of them can stay in the past as well. I do think it was a kind of improvement over the first game. The problem is that in the first game it was too difficult to capture, especially the later level boos. But in Luigi's Mansion 2, it was a little too easy. Now finding them, that was a challenge. That was way too difficult to find the boos in each mission. But capturing them was way too easy. Really, it was just, if you shine your dark light, it's really messed up. You shine your dark light on them, right? You reveal them, you pull their tongue, you launch them around the room, whatever. That's whatever. But you can move while they're bouncing around. So when they restabilize, if you didn't knock off enough of their health, you can literally just go up to where they are and find the dark light. They don't move around the room before you get to dark light them again. You can literally get them right as they go invisible. So it makes capturing them really easy. There's no difficulty whatsoever in them. So hopefully in this third game they actually master how to catch the boos in this game, in the game. And if they don't, I'll be very upset, because that'd be the third game in and they still haven't mastered capturing the boos. Another thing that could stay in Luigi's Mansion 2 are the ghosts' bubbly personality. Now I'm not saying that the common ghosts shouldn't have personality. They should. They should have a little bit of goofiness to them. But not the level of goofiness they have in Luigi's Mansion 2. They act like freaking minions. They they just act like childish things. They don't act like spooky ghosts. They act like childish ghosts. And they should definitely leave that in the past. They should, oh my god, they should leave that in the past. And it seems like they're doing that for the most part in Luigi's Mansion 3. Like, the ghost that we saw in the trailer kind of looks goofy, but so far we haven't seen Luigi's Mansion 2 level of goofiness. Like, yeah, he jumped out of a cart, but that doesn't bother me. If they start laughing and throwing around things and being goofy, that's where I'll have more of a problem. Speaking of which, another thing they can leave in the past is all the little fetch quest missions they send you on in the game. I mean, they send you on a fetch quest mission to get basically every single item in the game that you acquire. Like, any single key that you acquire, Polterpup will steal it and you have to go and catch him. Anytime you have to collect, every time you're about to open something, then there's something to steal your way. Whether it be in the first mansion with the crank, where the red ghosts steal the crank. Or the second mansion, where the blue ghosts steal the pieces of the pinwheel from the gate. Or the fourth mansion, when the ghosts chain up the thing and you have to go to each room and capture the ghosts to break their chain. That one doesn't bother me as much because you're actually, like, you know, like there's an objective to capture the ghost. But every other time, it's someone steals something and you have to go retrieve it. You know, in the first mansion alone, you have to retrieve the strobe bulb function from the ghosts in the first game after they've thrown it around for a while. Then there's, like I mentioned, the whole cog thing from the wall. You know, and then you have to get the dark light device, right? Don't you have to capture ghosts to get that as well? So it's like there's always a fetch quest kind of. Oh, you have to get all the ghosts to get. And I get it. In the first game, they have the keys. Right, you have to get the key from each room, but that was the objective of the game, to unlock every single room. You shouldn't feel like, you know, especially, you know, with the Polterpup missions. Usually, you do the Polterpup mission after you already got the key. You know, it's like saying, like, you finish with the safari room, right, on the 3rd floor, and you're about to go fight Blue Office, but no. Let's say Spooky comes back from the dead and steals that key. So now you have to go to another room and defeat Spooky. The only time this ever really happens in Luigi's Mansion, where a key is basically stolen from you, is the Blackout, kind of, where you have to get the key to the basement room that was already unlocked from Uncle Grimly. But, you know, at least that only happened once, really. So all the fetch questing missions, all of that kind of stuff, I mean, it's okay to have a few of them in the game, but Luigi's Mansion 2 very much overdid it. Alright, you guys, that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think about Luigi's Mansion 2 and what they should bring back and what they should keep. Let me know down in the comments down below. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I have my Discord server link in the description down below. Until next time, guys, see you in the next video.